world is moving HD-coated and has been at the helm of leading corporates like Target, Wipro, Lucent Technologies, and SAP Labs India Private Limited. Professor Dr. Y.S.R. Murthy Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Avi University, Dr. Sahana D. Gowda Ma'am, Honorable Registrar of Avi University. Welcome everyone. I request Hari Shraddha and team to render the invocation.
Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam Namakanjalochana Kanjamukakar Kanjapada Kanjarunam Shri Ram, Shri Ram Kandarpa Aganita Amita Chabit Navanila Neeraja Sundaram Padapita Manahuttarita Ruchi Shuchi Naumi Janaka Sudavaram Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam Shri Ram, Shri Ram Iti vadati Tulasidas Shankara Shisha Muni Manaranjanam Mama Hridaya Kanjani Vasa Kuruka Madhika Ladalaranjanam Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam Navakanjalochana Kanjamukakara Kanjapada Kanjarunam Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram.
Our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Prasad Ram, founder Guru, and Mr. B.R. Nagaraj, deans of various schools, registrar, faculty members, students, parents. I wish to extend a warm welcome to each one of you for this commencement. I want to give a brief introduction to our trust and our university. The trust was started by a freedom fighter, Pandit Shivananda Sharma, way back in 1940. He started in a modest way from one school with 6 students in a rented premises, and thereafter we systematically worked, raised philanthropic funding. Today there are 25 institutions where 25,000 plus students are enrolled from kindergarten to PhD, and the trust has graduated over 400,000 students so far, and many of them are working with some of the best companies and corporates and think tanks across the world. Our university is a state private university established in 2021. We started with 3 schools: School of Liberal Arts and Sciences, Design and Economics, with 8 degree programs. In 2 years, we have increased from 3 schools to 7 interdisciplinary schools, from 8-degree programs to 60+ degree programs, from 2 collaboration to nearly 130 national and international collaborations with some of the best topmost universities in US, Europe, UK, Asia. And also from 2 research centers, we moved to about 18 research centers, and we have consciously chosen a teaching cum research intensive model. I'm so delighted that 58 students are joining today across 5 master's programs run by different schools. And I want to compliment our youngest school, School of Media, Film, Media and Creative Arts, its dean, Dr. Keynote and his colleagues. And today they're starting a master's in film, philosophy, etc. And we are proud of our youngest school. And today we have students from MDS program, LL.M program, students from ME Economics and MTech Data Science. Wish to extend a warm welcome to all the students and their parents. At master's level, there's a lot of self-discovery. At school, you might have to be there's something called spoon feeding. But at master's, the entire education is actually a journey of self-discovery and learning for the sake of learning, for the pure joy of learning, and for lifelong learning. Today, technological developments and also rapid obsolescence of our skills require that you take the programs very seriously, learn for future disruptions like COVID pandemic or other technological developments, equip yourself with the skills that will stand by you in the future. And as you commence this journey, my only request to you is that be focused, stay focused, and I wish you success in all your efforts. And we have a set of wonderful faculty members who include, they have taken degrees from some of the best institutions in the world. They include Fulbright scholars, British Union, other prestigious scholarship holders. So it's your turn to make best use of them. It's your turn to engage with them outside the class hours and also seek their help, guidance for your research. And some of you may get into the corporate world soon after your graduation, or some of you may go in for research. Some of you may take up other vocations. Whatever you do, the foundation will be laid here. The knowledge that you acquire here, the focus with which you pursue your studies here will help you throughout your life. And I wish you success in your efforts. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful welcoming address. Now, introducing our chief guest, Dr. Prasad Ram, sir, who is the founder CEO of Gooru, a research non-profit that developed a GPS for learning to accelerate outcomes in K-12 higher ed, skills training and preparation of learners. Dr. Ram, in his previous stints, was the head of research and development and site head at Google India. He was also instrumental in the development of Yahoo India platform while he has the CTO for the Yahoo India. Dr. Ram has a MS and PhD in computer science from University of California and did his BTech in computer science from IIT Bombay. He has spent his recent years striving to achieve social justice through learning, equity and excellence.
Hello, good morning everyone. Thank you very much to the leadership at the university for inviting me today to be at the launch of your master's program and the opportunity to speak to all of you. You heard in my introduction about Prasad Ram, the professional. My journey started as a technologist when I enrolled at IIT Bombay in 4 decades later, after BTech and PhD and all the jobs at Xerox and Yahoo and Google and now Guru. I have now earned the privilege to introduce myself to you as Prasad Ram, the person, right? And I have an amazing wife who heads revenue recognition at a large technology company, and she put in the bulk of the work when it came to bringing up our 3 children who are adult kids right now, and 3 wonderfully nice kids. And I've learned over the past 3 decades of my association with her that the only thing you can change in life is yourself, right? So when somebody says, let's go change the world, actually the change happens when you think about it as to how can I be different so that it manifests as the world being different, right? Otherwise we can forever keep complaining about traffic in Bangalore or corruption in India or any of the wars in Ukraine or Gaza Strip and stuff like that. We can forever be complaining about that. But the question fundamentally is, how do I kind of change myself so that I can see a more just world, right? And I'll kind of share more about this when I start talking a little more about Guru and how it all comes back to that. I live every day in a life of wonderment. I'm extremely perplexed at the complexity of life, at the elegance of the elements that make up this complex systems, at the kind of how these different components interrelate to each other, right? So I wonder about, I'm just amazed at how complex human body is, for example, or any human life is. But at the core of it, it is the DNA that's so elegant, that makes the human, that manifests the complex being. I'm amazed at how complex and how beautiful mathematics is. But at the core of it is algebra, which is so elegant that it manifests the rest of mathematics for you. I'm very, very amazed at how music works, since I'm a big fan of all the Indian Idol and Indian those TV programs that are there when I'm in India. And I'm just blown away every time I watch. I cannot but feel like this art has no limits to it. But at the core of all this music is 7 notes and the ragas, right? And so all of complexity actually has as its core elements very elegant solutions to this, or very elegant elements that manifest this complexity. So as I think about learning as the underpinning of a just society, and I kind of feel like any society, if you want to see a just society, where we are tackling issues related to women's rights, related to poverty, related to environment or global warming, related to any of these social challenges that we currently encounter, the core of it starts from learning. Then my quest is, what is the most elegant thing that underpins all of learning? It cannot be this complex the way it manifests itself, whether it is kindergarten to 12 and higher education, master's program, skills training, professional learning. Since there are many, many buckets of learning that we kind of go through. But so what is the most elegant thing over there? The third thing I want to mention is I'm grateful to the entire ecosystem that coordinates so that I have been, to give me a life of happiness and fulfillment, right? And I've lived in the US for the past 35 years since my graduation from my undergrad degree, and I've made it a point to spend 3 months in India every year for 35 years to stay with my parents, right? I know about the family achievements that Mr. Murugan, who climbs up the coconut tree in my parents' house to pull down the coconut. I can tell you all about his family and all of how his children are doing, all the struggles his father went through. I can talk to you about the business progression, Mrs. Basappa, the fruit vendor, or Mr. Dandapani, my vegetable vendor, have gone through, right? Since every one of these people, we can easily dehumanize them by calling them as giving them a relationship like parents or siblings, or giving them a service provider role as a fruit vendor or a vegetable vendor. But if you are actually kind of paying the attention to understand these guys, I feel that affection is the strongest form of gratitude. You actually care about who these people are. And so these are the 3 axioms that I have, that has guided my life, right? One is the only thing you can change in life is yourself. So when you aspire to change anything, actually look inwards and say, what can I do? How can I be a better version of myself from yesterday, right? Number 1. Number 2 is kind of live a life of wonderment. Since there's just amazing things happening all around you. Just be attentive, be aware, and take interest in understanding these amazing things that are happening all around you. Whether it is a simple TV program or a great cricket match or the rains in Bangalore. I ask many people, so do you know why it rains in Bangalore every evening? And it rains for half an hour. And a lot of people haven't thought about, so why does it rain in Bangalore every evening? Which kind of made it the garden city at one time. It's no longer that, perhaps. And so the clue to this answer, and I'll let you go figure this out, is the country of Madagascar. So go check this out on Wikipedia or any other research material as to why it rains in Bangalore and what has Madagascar got to do with the raining in Bangalore every evening. Yeah. So live a life of wonderment. Just wonder about everything that is happening around you and say, hey, why does this happen? What is the core elegant things? And I'm really impressed with all the things that India has transformed itself, and particularly in the post-pandemic world. It's almost difficult to recognize the country and the way people interact and operate, right? And there's some very core infrastructure elements that have been put in place, very core innovation and startups that have started, that have created this, which has manifested into this unbelievably good lifestyle for us. And the third thing is kind of what I said, which is affection is the strongest form of gratitude, right? And pay attention to everything, everybody around you, and everything, how each of them are supporting you in unbelievable ways, right? Don't take them for granted, don't treat them as a service provider. It could be a vegetable vendor, it can be somebody who kind of does your, pulls down coconuts from your really tall coconut trees and so forth, and pay attention to all of that. So I kind of, have incorporated all of these things in the way I have led my life. And there's something that you may want to consider and make it your own, right? I'm not here to provide any advice or inputs or any such thing. I just want to share my background, introduce to you Prasad Ram, the person, and say that these are the three things that have kind of significantly influenced the way I have operated in life, and some of these things may be of value to you as well. So let's come to learning and social justice. So, I was at Google Research when I came home one day, and I said to my wife, I'm going to quit Google. So at that time, I had a kid in primary school, I had a second kid in middle school, and a third kid in high school. And my wife said, so what's your smart idea? Why do you want to quit Google? And I said, I want to do a non-profit. She said, so what do you know about non-profits? I said, I want to do a non-profit in education. She said, what do you know about education and what do you know about non-profits? To say that you want to just abruptly quit your job and start doing this. Fortunately, my son, who was overhearing this conversation, and he knew that I was I had worked myself into a corner here, came to my rescue and he said, Dad, being a parent is like running a non-profit. Right? So you have a lot of experience running non-profits, right? So that's kind of the start of my non-profit journey. I just said, look, I really don't know what I need to do, but I need the time to go figure that out. And I'm not going to figure that out as a 20% project. And I have to really dedicate myself. We are fortunate enough that I can take a few years to figure this out. If it doesn't work, then I go back to job. And that was 13 years ago. So it has somewhat worked, right? And still a long ways to go. So the fundamental issue came down to, if you want to achieve social justice at scale across all areas, then the core underlying principle is learning, right? If you can empower people with learning, then they will actually deal with justice for themselves. You don't have to do justice for them, right? They will actually figure things out. Then how do you enable learning? I mean, think about learning around the world. Since my grandparents learned the same way as my children learned, which is sit in rows and columns with the teacher in front of you, and some learning is supposed to happen after that, right? And while everything else in our lifespan has transformed, right? The way we think about life has really changed, but not the way we learn. So one of the things I did was I kind of went around 1,000 schools across all continents. I went to, except Antarctica, I went to South America, I went to all countries like China and Middle East and India, of course, and US and Europe and so on, and actually visited a variety of their programs. And what I saw consistently was, no matter which program, no matter which country, no matter which institution, which stage of learning, whether it's kindergarten to 12 or higher education or professional learning or skills training, everybody was struggling, to say it mildly, right? And nobody actually felt like, hey, we have figured this learning thing out, and this is how human beings learn. And then I kind of started looking into more of research. So what do the researchers know about learning, right? And since educators kind of are finding it difficult to assure outcomes, what do researchers know? Researchers told me that learning is more about motivation, more about self-confidence, more about grit and perseverance, more about dealing with stereotype threats than about Pythagorean theorem or nouns and pronouns, right? And if learning is all about this, then how is it that we somehow seem to emphasize a lot on about nouns and pronouns or Pythagorean theorem and give tests and grades and judge anybody's competence based on that? So I kind of then switched to looking at it from a game theory perspective. So if 4 of us play a game and 3 of us want one person to win, what is the chance that that person will not win? 0, right? Or what is the chance that person will win? It's 100, because all 4 of us want one guy to win, one person to win. Now look at what happens in learning. The student wants to win, the teacher wants the student to win, the parent wants the child to win, the principal wants the class to win, and still the student loses. So it's a blatant violation of game theory. If 4 people play a game and all 4 of you want one person to win and the person is losing, right? So where is the problem with learning that is violating game theory here, right? And I looked at it from a complexity science perspective. So I'll kind of, communicate complexity science or complex systems in a very colloquial way. Is complex systems, the way you can think about it, is you don't scale through replication, right? Now, how did we fight the pandemic? Somebody figured out one vaccine that protected one person, and then we manufactured 10 billion vaccines. So you scale through replication, and that's a complicated system, right? Figuring out the vaccine was hard. All of us kind of, many of people paid their price with their lives until it took us the time to figure out the vaccine and all that stuff. But it's still a complicated system because it scales through replication. Now, a complex system does not scale through replication. Since many of you are very young here, but people who have kids can think about it. If you have 2 kids of your own, what works for kid 1 does not work for kid 2, right? Doesn't scale right there, right? What works for you did not work for your sibling. What works for your nephew does not work for your niece, kind of stuff. So things don't scale at the most local level, where everything else is the same. Genetic makeup is the same, the socioeconomic conditions are the same, and all the community interactions are the same, and so stuff like that. But that's how complex a human being is. So what produces learning is not, otherwise Kota would have figured this out by now, right? If it was all about how do we kind of drill and kill people, then Kota is experts at that, right? It's not about showing people how to solve differential equations or how to kind of do matrix algebra or any such thing. But it's really about everyone figuring out for themselves what it means to learn. So what is the underlying elegant system that we can build to make such a thing happen? So I'm kind of, this one. Yeah. So you can't see the slides, but
Maybe just that invite pointed. Then you can go.
yeah. So basically what is the problem with learning? Is the learners are failing, whatever indication you look at. School graduations drop, every year our country produces this thing called the ESSA report, which more or less says the same thing every year. We don't do well in school, college completion is not happening, or professional qualification, people are not able to pursue and get to the jobs that they want to get to, right? And the reason for that is the formal learning produces some data, clearly through the systems that you guys use, but jobs and internship activities may or may not produce data in a digital form, but it's producing some information that is stored somewhere else. Life events and offline activities, you may be learning about where is Israel or where is Ukraine, because of the events that are happening. But that is never captured, that data is never captured anywhere. And anything you learn on soft skills and leadership and stuff like that, nobody even knows how to capture any data about such things. So essentially you have left with incomplete and siloed data. And all the resources that each of these programs give you to learn is fragmented, right? They put you in one system, they give you a small set of resources, and somehow you are supposed to learn based on that. And as a result, it won't serve the diversity of learners. Every human is so individual, so hyper-personal, that you cannot say this one size fits all. And here is a coursework, everybody please go through this coursework. And that is, as I just remarked earlier, that is still the academic side of it. It's not about self-confidence, it's not about motivation, it's none of those other elements that we have to get. So though the research is very clear that one-to-one instruction performs better than 95%, students receiving one-to-one instruction perform 95%, better than 95% of learners who receive group instruction. We just don't know how to make this happen. Right. So we kind of reimagine learning like a Google Maps. Right? What if you said, I want to learn, I'm a 6th standard student, I want to learn quadratic equations. And somehow it figures out where exactly the gaps in learning you have. Right? You may not even be motivated to learn quadratic equations. Maybe it should fill the motivation gap first. Maybe you still don't know how to solve the equations with one variable, linear equations with one variable. Right? Maybe it should fix that before it actually teaches you how to find the roots of a quadratic equation. Right? Maybe you are a software engineer who kind of wants to become a product manager. Maybe you're a software engineer who wants to become a cybersecurity expert. Right? Can you get a Google Maps like elegant solution where you say, I want to do that, and it gives you a pathway of all the things that you need to do. And as you journey on the pathway, it will read out you based on how you perform. Right? If we can build that stuff, then it's all, we would have achieved our non-profit's mission. Now, clearly what Google Maps has, analytics in our case, which is not there in learning, is all the data about you, where you are, the traffic, the toll booths, everything, roads, everything is available to Google Maps. Right? Number one. Number two, all the resources, every road, every coffee shop, every petrol bunk, everything is available to Google Maps. Right? So what it's able to do is once you pick a destination, then essentially leverage all the resources, first understand everything about where you are, then leverage all the resources, the appropriate resources, and give you a pathway. Now, in education and learning, unfortunately, this is not the case. So for us to solve this problem, there are multiple levels at which we need to solve a problem. One is, if we had all the data and all the resources, can we still give the person navigation? Right? That is problem number one, right? Which is, if I had the data lake and learn story colon, then can I still give you a route, right? And the second problem is, so how do I go get those two things? Because that's the quintessential thing to make this happen. Now, the thing I just mentioned is, and all of you, I'm sure, have experience with Google Maps. The only reason why Google Maps works is because every point on Earth has a latitude and longitude. When you pull up your phone, it says, I know where you are. Very, very precisely knows where you are. So now it can give you turn-by-turn directions, get you up until Mysore Road, and then from Mysore Road it can navigate you all the way to the airport from that point forward, right? But in learning, there's no lat long for learning, right? So I just can't tell where you are, I just can't tell what this course is teaching, I just can't tell what this assessment is supposed to assess, I just can't tell what this project is supposed to be facilitating, what part of learning is supposed to be facilitating, and so on. So I'll kind of say this, and we can kind of talk about this at greater length, is how do you kind of, so we figured out how do you develop a lat long for learning, all kinds of, what is the learning algebra that takes you from your starting point to your destination. Like in Google Maps, it uses a geometry to take you from point A to point B and so forth. And then we kind of built these applications. One set of applications called the My Navigator app for students that mimics or echoes your experience with Google Maps, but for instructors and leaders and mentors and so forth, applications so they can coordinate their support. And two, what we did was to kind of take all of this stuff and create a learn board called My Gooru, and which can work on any existing application that you may be using. You add the learn board, or the application provider adds the learn board, and then it personalizes learning for you. So I just kind of introduced this last slide just so people expect that when I talk, I tell them a little bit about the technology that's underlying the whole thing. So basically what we deconstructed that to navigate somebody, you have to aggregate the data first, and then you have to locate the learner with high, both comprehensively and with high precision. You have to understand the learner for their empathy, for their mindset, motivation, self-confidence, not just for their, knowledge of data science or knowledge of physics or any such thing. So you have to understand the learner very, very comprehensively and with precision. Be able to curate all these resources and then generate pathways, right? Which we call as mediating pathways, so that the learner can now take the inputs from all these different stakeholders and integrate their learning. So this is kind of the core of technology that we developed to make this work. And as an organization, we kind of work with, as a non-profit organization, we are a pure technology play, but we work with other organizations doing amazing work, like the university here, but other non-profit organizations who are implementing in rural schools in India or in South Africa or in Zambia, of course in the US, of course, and so forth. So now the crux of this is we kind of said, so if we have to change anything in this world, we have to figure out how to change ourselves first, right? Second, you kind of have to be in deep awe and wonderment and admiration of the complexity of learning. How a human brain learns is just mind-boggling to just think about it, right? And there's a lot of people, like I growing up, I said, hey, I'm an Indian kid, I can't play basketball. I just gave up. Never even thought that I could be a basketball player, because I said, hey, I'm an average height Indian kid, I'm not going to play basketball. As a result, I'll never, you'll never see NBA players who are from India, right? Imagine if certain other segments of the society think of themselves as weak in math, no matter what, right? They start by thinking, I don't know math. Math is a difficult subject, I can't figure that out, right? Then actually it hurts them, their professions a lot more than, of course, me saying I can't figure out basketball, right? So there's a lot of these things that, how a human brain learns is incredibly complex, and constantly observing a child, observing students, observing your friends and peers, and who are experts. Clearly, people have won the awards for the documentaries they have created. People have authored books. People have participated in major music festivals, and all kinds of people around you. And being in wonderment of how exactly each of them have, what actually makes it click for each of them in their area of expertise is begins to throw some light. And the third thing, like I said, gratitude is affection is the greatest form of acknowledging, showing gratitude is kind of important. Is again, you take a lot of interest in each of the people. Since I kind of went to Parbani, Maharashtra, to a government school, and I'd already built all these systems that I'm talking to you about. So the assumption in my system building was the following. There's one teacher in one room with one grade teaching one subject, right? So I go to Parbani, Maharashtra, and the school has only 2 rooms. One room is teaching grades 1 to 3, the other room is teaching grades 4 and 5, right? So I said, okay, so that's the first violation of my assumption. That now and then the grades 4 and 5 teacher is on election duty. Right? So now I'm saying that there is one teacher, 2 rooms, 5 grades, 4 subjects, right? And we had designed the product completely wrong for her. because we had made all kinds of assumptions that were based on our own experience with education. We all probably went to the school with one teacher, one subject, one grade, and one room kind of stuff. But that's not how the rest of the country learns, right? So then we kind of had to go back and redo the whole design. And I was talking to a dean of design, and that was one of the things that we had this short conversation on how exactly do we do user research, right? How can all of the design schools here and the students here participate, since all of us have users all around us, right? What exactly can we do from a user research perspective, right? And so that's where I would kind of come back and say that, truly reflect about how you can change yourself. What about you can you change? Right? It's not about, in my case, this the Vice Chancellor in his talk mentioned about journey of self-discovery. And that's exactly, when people say to me that, Guru has the potential to change lives, I'm saying, no, it only needs to change one life, that's mine, right? It's really a journey of self-discovery. In this process, everything else will manifest, right? And I don't have to kind of go change everybody else's life. I just have to really understand who I am, figure out what is my purpose in life, what is my training, what is the investment that has gone in from an entire nation to kind of educate me, and then kind of figure out how can I contribute, right? And as a technologist in Silicon Valley, not doing a startup with a for-profit motive is kind of blasphemous, to put it mildly, right? And but to kind of really say, hey, what is it I want to do differently about myself so that I can see the change that happens? How do I kind of acknowledge that there are people around me who have supported me, whether it's in Parvani, Maharashtra, or Raipur, Chhattisgarh, or in South Africa, or in the US? And how do I understand each of these people so at such granularity that I truly, am striving to understand them so that I can build the right technologies for them and live this life of wonderment where you're always in awe of just how beautiful life is overall, and in search of this elegant underpinnings that brings about this beauty. So I'll pause here and thank you all very much for giving me this opportunity. And if you have any questions or you want to reach out to me at any time, that's my email ID here. Please feel free to write to me or connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll do my very best to find ways to either involve you or support you or engage with you in the ways that you feel appropriate. Thank you very much.
Our Honorable Registrar, Dr. Sahana D. Kaudaman, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Lord, dignitaries on the dais, Dr. Prasad Ram sir, Mr. B.K. Nagraj sir, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. A.V.S. Murthy sir, deans, faculty members, admin staff, parents, and my dear students. I welcome all of you to our university. Before I express my gratitude on this event, I would like to give a small message to our dear students who are entering to RVU family. This place facilitates for you to polish, because you are entering the postgraduate program, to polish your learning skills, and you are on your way in exploring the knowledge of intending towards the research. So normally in a PG program, it should never be an extension to a UG program. It's not something like we did something which we didn't do learning properly in UG, so let me go into PG. PG is where you find something that is triggered on you to go much more deeper in learning, much more deeper in investigation, much more deeper in experimentation. And our university will give you full support, and I'm sure all teachers will work with you together. Will not teach you, we will work with you together in exploring the area of your interest. And also this should be the outcome of PG programs. It's not the next level of placement, it should be the next level of you becoming an independent learner, you becoming an independent researcher. And since you all are elders to the undergraduate students, the peer learning and you becoming their immediate teachers for learning will also be good. And normally, in a university culture, what we expect is that the hierarchy of learning, the smallest kids in the university are the undergraduate, next is the postgraduate, and next is the PhD scholars. So all of us have to work together in bringing up a good learning ecosystem in a university. We all have a good positive growth in our careers. So also with this, being PG students, we expect you to be the role models for your juniors, for your undergraduate students. We have a strict dress code, so I would put on in it and I request all of you to kindly follow it up because that should be the first step where it facilitates to give a good learning decorum in the university. And we have student code of conduct which is also applicable. Please go through it, and rules are not for punishment. It is only to make people feel very comfortable to be within that line. So I request all of you to be much more towards your growth, to concentrate more and to be very friendly with the teachers. I'm sure our teachers will be very cordial and very helpful for you all. Whatever the experimentations, whatever you really want to learn. So we'll be very supportive to that also. Welcome once again. I welcome all of you to RVU family. And thank you for choosing RVU University. And a sincere gratitude, I like to express a heartfelt thanks to our chief guest, Dr. Prasad Ram sir, for sharing his commitment to university, accepting our invitation. And your talk was really inspiring, sir. Changing ourselves will change the world. Naturally, because once we change ourselves, the way we look at the world will also change. It looks that we have changed everything. And I'm sure affection is the most good relationship that we can really have, good, which expresses the good gratitude among each other, the way we have built ourselves. Thank you very much. I thank, since we are very grateful to Mr. B.R. Nagraj sir, whom we have connected from 1 year. We have not been to Target. There was an open invitation to RV University. And it was so nice that getting into an industry, when we went to an industry, we understood how there was an equality in gender, what importance was given, and what was the contribution they had to the society. And sir is instrumental in connecting Dr. Ram Prasad to RV University. We are very thankful. On behalf of our RV University team, I express our sincere thankful to our Chancellor, Dr. A.V.S. Murthy sir, Pro-Chancellor, Shri D.P. Nagraj sir, and our President, Dr. M.P. Sham sir, in their absentia. I'm thankful to our Vice Chancellor, Dr. A.V.S. Murthy sir, who is very much supportive in being supportive in making this event in the seminar hall, and even moving on to small things of whether this is being done, and all are very comfortably placed, and one-to-one interaction, and all the doors of the university, of whether it could be Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and Deans, is always open to students and parents to express what you feel and to feel comfortable. And if you have some difficulties, you can just walk into us and tell us, and we'll be very supportive to you. Thank you. I would express my thanks to deans, faculty members, admin staff, media team, and the admission of Office of Admission, the IES team, who really connected, who really want to come into RV University. And last but not the least, the parents, who are also the stakeholders of the university, and my dear students, for making this event a grand success. Thank you.